Alright, how's it going, guys? We're back for some more GT4r. And I've been running the macerator here. Got a nice amount of iron and copper and tin up and ready to go. We're over steaming because I haven't needed much more bronze at the moment. Also need to cook up some of the tin to put with my copper, but we are going to go ahead and make a steam furnace today, so we can get our stuff cooked up and not have to use these horrible furnaces here any longer. There has been an update, so we do have a few things to go over with that. But I want to get this done first, so that will knock it off. So, okay, that's the 8 we need for that. And then, hey, that was the perfect amount. There we go. That's the 4 for that. We need to make our bronze hull. We need 2 of these. We need a furnace. And then we need the wrench and those 4 plates. So what did I do wrong? This goes here, that goes there. And there we go. We now have the furnace. And because I did it this way, we don't really have room for putting it beside there. We're going to set this up properly when we go down to the new building, which will probably happen sometime soon. But now I can go ahead and throw the tin in here, and it'll start cooking. And I'm actually going to take this hopper. I'll make a new hopper later. And we're going to put this one under here. We should be able to turn it that way, which we can. And then the chest, and there's our nuggets, because this is going to make us nuggets. 12 nuggets. Okay, so now if we take a look, our steam has gone down to almost nothing. Well, it is nothing, but that's because I had to fill the machine. But I should have enough to take care of both of these off of that. That number is going down, so maybe not. We may need to make another. Yeah, I'm going to say we definitely need to make another boiler. So I will put stuff in here as I can. Go ahead and throw that in there. A couple things that were changed. Rather than making a vanilla pickaxe that are a vanilla style pickaxe so we can do torches with our pickaxes, he made it so now the vanilla pickaxes can place torches. Same with the axe. When you make a diamond axe, it's going to be the vanilla one, but it will do the tree felling just like a GT. So all of the tools should work the same, whether they're vanilla or the GT4r ones. And I'll bring you down here and show you I did get the building finished. Make a little leap across there. I've been working on filling in some of these holes on the way down here, because that's still going to be my mining area up there. But our little building is finished. I just did a stepped roof here, and I got a nice little view of the bay. And then we'll just put the machines over here. So I will work on getting everything moved in down there. I'm going to stop feeding the boiler, let the heat run out on it. We had an issue with tape not having a recipe, and Trins and I discussed it, and we just used sticky resin for the glue. This is supposed to be a more basic version, the GT4 version. GT4 didn't have glue, so no reason to add a mixing thing just for glue when resin will work. So that's what we decided to go ahead and do with that. Let me look at the changelog real quick. There was some GTI changes that would kind of get over here. The ULV cables. Changed from GTI. So you have lead is LV and soldering alloy is ULV. So I'm not sure what we're going to have in this version that's going to need ULV cables. There were no ULV cables in GT4 that I can remember. We didn't have anything ULV. If you were doing solar stuff, you just use the tin cables that were LV, because you could go like 25 blocks or something like that with them before they could actually lose anything. But if you do solars in here, you do have 0.02 loss per block for the soldering alloy cables. So there is a little loss, but not much. And then you have your tin, your lead for LV. Remove duplicated crushed smelting recipes. We kind of seen that. If you guys remember in the last one, there were 2 recipes for a lot of these for how much you got. That is now dealt with. The boiler was changed, and now it's a solid fuel boiler instead of coal boiler. There was somebody that had complained in GTI basically about the fact that we could do wood in a coal boiler, and so it was renamed to a solid fuel boiler because you can't make charcoal, you can't make a coke oven early on. You would have to go out and get actual coal. There is a coke oven in here because in GT4 we use Railcraft, and Railcraft just used sand and clay to make it. You could spam them day one and it wasn't a big deal. And you could actually make charcoal in a furnace as well. We've opted to go for the no charcoal in a furnace thing and add a coke oven, which I love. And so therefore you can't really expect people to run everything just on coal. So this is a trade-off. You can, and it makes perfect sense. It's burnable. If you can burn it, put it in there. There's no reason to restrict it to just coal or charcoal. What else do we have here? Change the base boiler textures. You'll see they look a little more GT4-ish. I like the other way they look better, but it's his choice, and that's what he went with. Added recipe for the universal hazmat suit. So this now has a recipe, aluminum plates and lead plates with a chainmail helmet. chainmail helmet is made with steel rings and a hammer, and then you need a glass pane. Same thing for all of these. It's just aluminum and lead with the chainmail equivalent in the middle, and those are all craftable. Added recipe for the ender garbage bin. So if we need to make a garbage bin to void anything, it is possible to do. You have the obsidian plates, the iron plates, the eye of ender, and the obsidian plates you need a fluid solidifier for with lava in it. So you aren't going to be able to do this until you get to electricity, but you really shouldn't need a trash can at this point, so I don't see an issue with that. Made steel steam machines. Okay, this was a major thing, a major change that is different from GT4. So if anybody's used to playing that version and you want to give us some comments on how you feel, we're looking at ways of making the Steam era in GT4 and GTI less of a grind. You kind of need to know, you kind of have to go through the grindy bit to get to the part where it's not quite so grindy, but or to know how to do things correctly. You know, you do it wrong, you grind through the wrong, so you look for the way to do it right, is how I heard somebody put it the other day. And I can agree and I can disagree with that philosophy. I like how GT6 did it, where we can just pour our plates. We don't have to hammer our plates. It doesn't feel so rushing to get to a bender. You don't have to rush to get to electric. And rather than doing the GT5U thing of letting you use a hammer to do 2 to 3, we have an idea. I came up with an idea of another way of saving on plates a little bit, saving on material, making plates. And that is actually inspired by Junior when we played GT4. He didn't use a bender, he used a cutting machine, because you can actually make, if we look at iron plates, I think I'm going to have to go kill something in a second. You can make them in a plate cutting machine from a block of iron. And in GT4, it's actually quicker to do this than it is to do the bending machine recipe 9 times. So he was using a plate cutter to cut a block of iron. So what I have discussed with Trends, which is in the changelog that, well, this part isn't, but he put an issue that it's something he wants to look at doing. Making the blocks of material will be put into the compressor exclusively, which would give you a reason that you have to make the steam compressor. And then we would have a block cutter that we could use early game in bronze. I'm thinking something along the lines of the industrial sawmill from GT4 that, you know, most people don't make because it just gives you extra wood and who really cares. Something along those lines, but a steam version of it, because steam powering a saw is a thing that was done. Granted, maybe not for cutting metal, but for cutting wood, it most definitely was. I spent part of my childhood at a steam festival once a year where they had a big they had steam powered everything, but they had a big steam powered saw, and that's what I was thinking was you would still have to do the plate thing early, but then eventually you could get to where you could cut them by making that little multi-block and a compressor, and then you wouldn't be wasting your steel having to rush to get to the bender. And this goes along with it, which is that he made steel steam machines only cost 2 times the steam instead of 4. So now if you make steel machines, once you get to steel, they don't eat quite as much, well, they don't eat twice the amount of power that a bronze machine does. Because what I was discussing with Trins about was the fact that bronze is a lighter material, steel is a heavier material. It should be more expensive on steam, say 10% more expensive for steam to move the steel parts than the bronze parts. But it shouldn't be an overclock per se, because that's not really how steam works. That's how electric works, but that's not how steam works. The more steam you give something, the faster it can work. And so we've made the steel age before electric age a little bit more of a viable age, so that you can upgrade some of your things that need to be faster. Like, say, a macerator, that compressor we were discussing, things like that. Maybe even you'd want to do your furnace. They would be a bit faster. And that's the other part of what he has here in the changelog, which is when he has time, they will also scale. So it'll be from 1.1 to 2.1 times, and I think the 0.1 on the 2.1 is actually wrong. It should be 2 times, in my opinion, because there should be a 10% flat cost. Everything done in a steel machine should cost 10% more than if you did it in bronze for steam. But because steel is a more durable material, we should be able to basically overpower that steam machine and be able to make it go faster. So as of right now, the recipe should be pretty much the same, whether it's a bronze steam machine or a steel one, but it will change to where we can actually overpower the steam ones to a point. Which means that the steel macerator should be on par, if not maybe even a little bit faster than the LV one. And I think with all of this change with the steam age, it's going to make the steam age less of a grind. Once you can make your plates and not have to hammer them all out, and lose half of your material, which is one of my next things to get done, is a hammer, so I can stop wasting durability on these hammers. I'm going to make a compressor because I want to get to a coke oven. That is my main objective right now, is getting this done. And I have the furnace, so I can do this less painfully. But I need the compressor for the fire clay into fire clay bricks. And then I just need the clay dust and the brick dust. And the clay is done in the steam macerator, and the brick dust can be done in the macerator or in the hammer. It's actually quicker to do it in the hammer than it is in the macerator. And so I'm going to make a steam compressor, and a steam hammerer will be the next 2 machines we make. And then we'll be able to get our coke oven made and start making charcoal and creosote. How are we doing on, we're not building on steam. Steam's building up in there, and our heat is still going down. Okay, so let's look at the hammer, because I want to get this done next. And that's going to take a lot of bronze, because making a gear is a pain in the butt. And that's going to be a pain in the butt until we get to MV and an extruder. The only, or LV with a fluid solidifier. But we have to have the steel for this. We have to have the power for it. And we also have to have the fluid extractor, which he really needs to change this to smelter like he did in GTI. I hate the fluid extractor thing. Because you're not extracting the fluid, you're heating it. You're smelting it to a liquid. But until you get to LV, this is how you should do it. And then eventually you can do the extruder when you get to MV. But the reason why these are going to be so bad is it's 2 for each plate, and then it's 1 for each rod, 1 ingot for each rod. So that's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 12 per gear alone. So that's 24 bronze for the gears, and then 2 for each of the plates, and 2 for each of the 8 in the hall. So 24, 16, and 8. Add that up. I'm not trying to do it in my head at the moment, but that is a lot of bronze. Which is seriously only being made to save me on the bronze going into hammers. And I don't really know that it's worth it, to be perfectly honest. I'm thinking maybe he might want to change this recipe just a little bit, because if I remember correctly, I don't remember if it was GT4 or GT5, but one of them, the hammer had an anvil in it, which would make this a little bit cheaper, because you could take out one of the gears. The gear making sense, but again, the gear is the expensive part. But it's also going to save me on time as well, because, like I said, the macerator is going to be very slow for all of the bricks we need to do, and it's going to do the bricks. So I am going to do it, but making those gears are going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. There was actually an alloy recipe for doing this. I do believe I need to go and look at this. It wouldn't help with this one, but it would help if we wanted to make a steel one. There was a alloy recipe where you could use a mold, and I don't see that in here, so I need to check on that and get with him about it. But I only have 25 bronze right now, so I'm going to work on getting all of this stuff once our steam and heat have gone down and I've cooked up as much as I can of what we've already macerated. I'll start moving all this stuff down and start it back up. I'll probably make another boiler to help keep everything moving. And then I'm going to have to go out and start getting the clay around so we can start on the bricks. And it looks like we have some visitors over here. which is going to be a bit of a pain because I don't have a shield yet. I need to get one of those made, and I'm definitely going to have to drink me some milk because we have a village right over there that I get rather close to, and I am definitely not ready to be taking on a raid. Alright, those guys are out of here. And hey, I got me a crossbow. How nice of them. Alright, start my little banner collection up here. Get some food in me. I'll refill my bowl. I've got 30 things of beef stew just sitting there waiting on me. Alright, so the only other thing that I've seen is that the flint knife, unless it has been changed when you make a new one, yeah, it doesn't get the material. That did not change yet. So another thing I found weird is I swore different tools in here would give you a different enchant. Like if you put a shovel in, you would get one kind of thing. If you put an axe in, you get a different one. I might be wrong on that. We're gonna try it here real quick. Green schist, that'll work. That's an axe. And we'll make a shovel. And we'll make a pickaxe. Okay, so what my issue is that any tool that I put in here of the GTI ones, a hoe, silk touch, shovel, silk touch, knife, silk touch, wrench. Hey, that one gives fortune 1. But that's basically my issue, is the fact that all of them were giving me silk touch. Well, I guess all these are too, so never mind. I thought different tools would give you a chance at a different thing, but I guess I was wrong. I just found it weird that normally it takes me forever to get silk touch, and now it's like the only thing I can get. Minecraft is weird at times. Because I already have silk touch on a diamond pickaxe. I don't really need it on everything else. So I guess I'm just going to have to do one of these at a random lower one so I can get something different. But anyways, we are going to get out of here for today. And look at all those iron nuggets I got. That's a lot of iron. I need to get tin in there next, which I have lots of that too. But our steam is going down. Our heat should be out. And with that, I bid you adieu. Take it easy.